Hello, today we're going to interview Marcel, our student council president. He's going to talk to us about his experience as student council president and give any advice to all presidential hopefuls.
That's right.
Hello, Marcel.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon.
So let's start.
Okay.
How have you enjoyed your time as student council president?
Well, being student council president is a little bit of it's a lot of highs and a lot of lows. It's been challenging, certainly challenging. I would say that most of all, I have grown to become a better leader, I hope. And I have also learned just a lot about the school community. And it's great to see how many students can come together on this project. It's almost like a project, the Student Council, a year-long project in which we try to serve our community and make sure we get students to participate in really fun activities. Yeah, so it's been good.
Is there anything you wish you could have done or implemented, but there wasn't enough time?
That's a hard one to say because a lot of the things that is done in the student council is actually done by the committee leaders, not by myself. I usually supervise and facilitate meetings. It's a lot of work because we do keep track on every single committee, but I personally don't have as much because most of the things that I implemented were more of structural internal reforms. So for example, we added the Senate, where committee members could come together to discuss and give us feedback about events in the past week, as well as give us more feedback about what we can do to improve our student council as a whole. So I don't think I have any regrets. Yeah.
What do you think is your biggest accomplishment as student council president?
My biggest accomplishment, that sort of relates with the past question. I would say that we certainly stepped up the efficiency. I mean, last year, the efficiency was also stepped up. It's really great. There's more inter-committee bonding, so we work together on many events. We certainly have tried our best to provide e-news every month. We've also had leaders meetings every month, Senate meetings every quarter, executive meetings every week, as always. But yeah, it's just mostly, it's really efficient nowadays, and hopefully that will be something that will help future presidents.
What do you think was your biggest struggle?
All right, my biggest struggle would probably be balancing everything between student council and also schoolwork, as well as home, social life, all of that. It's tough because, of course, student council work takes quite a lot of our time, but it's a different sort of work. You know, a lot of times, when I first wanted to become president, I always thought the president doesn't really do much. That's, of course, perhaps the perception that many students have, right? And you really don't know how to explain it until you're a president, basically, because the type of work is completely different. You don't do proposals, you don't do events and logistics or contact people, you know, like concrete things. You don't do things to do and you can check them off. But it's more like these tasks are always on your mind, like checking up on people, having meetings. So a lot of my time is taken up, my break times, lunch times, after school, and also just at home, coordinating things in WhatsApp and stuff. It's quite a lot of work, yeah.
How did you think you found that balance?
How did I find that balance? I think that, honestly, you just have to take it step by step. And the thing is, I really prayed about it. I always asked God to give me the strength to be able to go through daily tasks, because it's a lot of work. And honestly, if we look at it at the big picture, you're sort of amazed, wow, that you're doing so much, you know? And there's just all these IAs, tests you have to study for. And then, of course, tomorrow you have a meeting, or you have to talk to someone, or, yeah, all these things just going on at the same time. But, you know, you just ask God for strength and keep going day by day, task by task.
What traits do you think a president should and shouldn't have?
I think the biggest trait that a future president should have is passion. Because honestly, the president has the ability to just stop and drop everything. If you as a president don't sustain it, you don't keep asking leaders to hand in proposals, to ask for events for next month, to coordinate events, make sure media gets it for the next e-news, and you don't ask for feedback from committee members, yeah, you can just leave that. You don't need to get that feedback. So it really is about passion. You need to be able to ask, why am I doing this? Why do you want to be president? And if you're passionate about it, if you're passionate to serve the school community, and you have the motivation and determination and perseverance to go through the school year and do all of that, keeping in mind that it's for the glory of God and for the service of the community, I think that is the biggest and most important trait for any president. Afterwards, then you have to see their abilities too, right? Competencies and, for example, organizational-wise. And, there's a lot of stereotypes about leaders, and there's lots of types of leaders, and you shouldn't think there's, this type of person is the best leader. The most charismatic of people might not be the best leaders. At the same time, the ones that are very organized and too detailed might not be a good one either. You need to have a balance as a leader to be able to see the big picture, but also zoom in on details, to be able to inspire your committees, and at the same time, admonish them if they need to be checked on from time to time. So it's really a balance of everything, and everyone develops. So you can't say, you don't have that, so you can't be a president. So everyone keeps developing those traits, and and so what we're trying to look for in the next president is if they have potential in order to develop those traits.
Could you explain the process of becoming the student council president?
All right, so the process usually starts by the end of February and early March. And what happens is presidents or people who want to be presidential hopefuls, as you called it, would take an application and fill it out, writes a personal statement sort of thing, hand it into the administration. Afterwards, the senior school principal, the head of school, the student council sponsor, and the outgoing president will interview at once if you make it through to the shortlist. Once you are approved by the administration and myself, then we will allow you to nominate yourself, and your nomination will go public. So there's a lot of things going on before people even know about the nominations, right? That's because we want to make sure that we have a good president and not just one that will, sort of, I want to be president, but will you be able to actually carry out the job? Because it's a serious task, right? Afterwards, once they nominate themselves and publicly, then they will make speeches in chapel, and then it's voting time, and it's up to the students.
Do you have any additional advice for any future student council president?
Okay. My advice would be that before you even think about it, you should pray about it, and you should also think about, can you handle it? Because it's a lot of work, and as I said before, the work is a different type of work. It's going to be things that you have to be thinking about throughout the time. And as a leader, you need to be responsible for the development of your committee leaders as well as the committee members below them. So you're responsible for the leadership development of the whole student council. You're also accountable to the student body, and accountable to yourself. Do you have the integrity to actually continue to work? So think about that amount of pressure. Will you be able to handle it? It's not so much pressure, because if you like doing it, then it's nice. It's something that you would love to do. But make sure that you can handle that as well as academics, especially for grade 12s, because as soon as you get into semester 1, there's a lot of IAs. You need to hand in a lot of things, and you need to be on top of things. So make sure you can even ask your counselor too, if you think you can actually handle the job. Any more tips? I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah, just make sure you have a balance of everything. A balance of charisma, a balance of organization, and yeah, lead with a purpose. Make sure you lead with a purpose, because those who lead aimlessly, there's a lot of people following you and you're leading aimlessly. So make sure you lead with a purpose, with passion, with integrity, and with a goal to serve the community, and all for the betterment or for the glorification of God. Yeah.
So that concludes our interview. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you.
Don't forget to check out Voice for any additional updates on presidential candidates.